Welcome back to Built Fabrications, and today we're up in the rafters because I'm hoping to build a floating shelf. You can see the riding on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements. So I've managed to make a huge mess out of the shop, if you could kind of see, and it really does no justice on camera. But I pretty much blew away the whole one corner of my shop here so that I could make this shelf, so I could get access to this wall. And essentially what I'm trying to do is build a floating shelf that will come out about 3 feet off of this post and then span across 12 feet to the other one. And I want it to be a floating shelf so that I don't have any legs or anything that are coming down taking up space. So I've got a little bit of a creative solution to it that I'll walk you guys through. All right, so I've actually been planning on doing this for quite a while. And what I'm planning on doing is I have some unistrut and some brackets and whatnot here. And my plan is to take these bases, and this will go up on the post. The unistrut will bolt, which is this stuff. I'll cut this to 3 feet in length, and then that will bolt to this and come out to 3 feet. And then if you're following me so far, I'll then have these brackets that will act as a brace underneath it. And then on the end of it, I will put this 2x10 by 12 on the end, run some hardware through it to make sure it doesn't slide around, and then I'll overlay some plywood, 3/4 inch plywood on top of this, and cross my fingers that that's going to be strong enough to hold the weight of everything that I'm trying to put up there. All right, so I got each of these cut 3 foot long, and then I put some holes in here because what my plan is I'm gonna have the one end, obviously, is gonna be attached to that platform, that base that I had already showed you. And then on the other end, I put some holes so I could run some hardware. I'm actually gonna be using these, I call them wing nuts. What are they actually called? Toggle bolts, that's what it is. I always want to call them wing nuts. I know they're not. And what I'll do is run the bolt through the wood, and it will sit on top of this, right? Obviously you get the picture. And then underneath I'll come up with the wing nut, and then that should grab onto here and keep it, and just keep this from sliding off. I'll do that on both ends. I obviously drilled the one side of this. I'm not going to drill the other yet, because I don't know exactly where it's gonna land whenever I get this put up on the posts. So this one will be my anchor point. So I'll get both of these arms attached, set this on top, run my toggle bolts through it on the one side, and then whenever I go to the other side, I'll just drill the hole through the wood, lined up with these holes here. And that should hopefully take care of that. So next step after this is to, what is it? I think get these bases mounted on the wall. All right, so I got my holes marked out. It's gonna be this one, and those two there. So I originally messed up. You can see the holes that are higher than that. What I had to do was find out where the base of this is, where it lines up, which is my mark here. And that's where we want the top of this unistrut to be, because we're gonna be putting that 2x12 on top. So we want this height with that on top to match the same height as the top of this 2x6 that's on the building. So what I had to do was measure from here. My distance to the top of this plate to this top here is 2¼ inches. So I measured from this mark, which is the bottom, 2¼ inches up, which is here, set my plate up there, and then I marked out the holes. So the next thing I need to do is drill a 5/16 pilot hole for each one of my 1/2 inch lags. And then after I get that done, I get this plate mounted up, then I'll put on the piece of unistrut and then put the brace on, measure out where that hole's gonna be, or where that bolt's gonna be, drill that pilot hole and set that. All right, we got this first arm up. You can see how far it's gonna come out. Everything seemed to go together pretty well. And I'm pulling on this with a bunch of my weight and it's not really moving, which is good. My biggest concern obviously is gonna be whenever we're spanning from here to that other post, and I have that 2x12, there's not gonna be anything really supporting it in the middle at all. So we're just gonna roll the dice on that and hope it works. All right, so now we have both of them up. So the next step we need to do is bring that 2x12 around, get it set on top, drill the holes, and do the toggle bolts. And then all we should really have to do after that is cut out our 3/4 plywood, get it laid over on top and screwed on, and we should have this thing in the bag. Alrighty, got everything done. Shelf is installed. All right, we're up here with the new shelf. Unfortunately, I had to cut these pieces into 4-foot lengths. Trying to get up the ladder with the full 8-foot sheet was not happening. And I'm not dying for a shelf. So besides that, it went pretty smooth. There's nothing fun about doing this though, I will say that much. And yeah, I thought I had a 12-foot ladder. Was told it was a 12-foot ladder when I bought it, but it's a 10, so kind of sketchy there. Basically, right now I'm standing on the second to last rung. So that's great. Don't do that. And yeah, I mean, the shelf has a little bit of a sag and it's gonna bounce a little bit in the middle since there's not that support, but it should be okay. These unistrut arms are stout. I should probably take my arm off that. Are stout. So it shouldn't go anywhere. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to putting stuff up here, especially now without a 12-foot ladder, but awesome. Hopefully this was some inspiration to you guys. I know there's different systems out there that you could have a floating shelf as opposed to doing one with legs, which obviously is going to be a little bit easier and a little bit more supportive, but yeah, the leg's in your way. So I'm trying to keep everything up as high as I can off the floor to gain more space. And hopefully this does the trick. And whenever I put stuff up here, it doesn't come falling back down. So anyways, you guys get outside, get wrenched on something, piss off your neighbors, disappoint your mom. And until next time, keep on keeping on.
Kids that growing up in basements, online a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation. What keeps you up at night, yeah.